Okay, so I'm Hannah Turner, and I've been attending Crossroads for about 6 years now. We have 4 beautiful children. I am married. Just want to tell our story about our miracle child, as we call him. Obviously, they're all a blessing from God, for sure. But he is just something miraculous that God did for us, and it was solely on faith and trusting in God. So it was in 2013. We actually weren't really ready to have another child. It just happened that way. Few months into the pregnancy, it's still shocking and real new, but we're excited. And one Saturday afternoon, actually I was supposed to go back into work at 3 o'clock for my 8-hour shift as a CNA actually at an assisted living, and I started bleeding. I sat there a while, obviously, in shock and just didn't understand what was happening really, and it just kept going on. And so I left, took myself to the ER. He stayed with the kids, and everything checked out. They just ran some tests. Everything was fine. So at that point, moving forward, they made me go see a specialist just to make sure everything was going to be okay throughout the pregnancy. So my next visit turned into another issue that had came up with his kidneys now. They have seen spots on his kidneys. They weren't sure what it was, ran some more tests. And we really were just in shock of all that was even happening at that point, that we just started praying. Like, what is happening? Like, worried, obviously, to death about it. And we go back to our next appointment. Now that's gone, and we're like, thank you, Jesus. Like, this is amazing. And so then we go back about our life, and it's time for another specialist because they make me stay on the specialist appointments throughout the pregnancy. And so then the next one, they actually, which I felt in that moment, something wasn't right because they would not tell us necessarily at the time of the ultrasound, but they pulled us into the office, the doctor, and it was the specialist doctor and our OB, and sat us both down. At that point, my heart just dropped. Like, it just makes me tear up now. Like, I knew there was something really wrong. And I thought, for sure, we probably lost him. They're not even saying anything. What is happening? And my husband, of course, was being supportive, and it's fine. It's going to be okay. And the doctor says, your son has an enlarged ventricle in his brain. And he said, there is, they say 1 in 4 of 1,000 pregnancies you can lose your child from that. He said the good note is that they can do a shunt implant into his brain to release the fluid. You would have to get a new OB because you'd be close to Scottish Rite Hospital, where he would be transported immediately. Our faith wasn't always the strongest, and we were still actually at that point trying to find a church home where we had, a group of believers to just pray with us and be with us. We had family and friends and coworkers, but not that support system, I would say, to just be with us in those moments. And so really, it was just me and him. We just turned to one another, and we prayed and we prayed and we asked God, and we just trusted in him. And ultimately, we just turned to God and really just believed in him. I've never witnessed anything like this. We go to the appointment, and it's a specialist again, so they do all the testing, the stress test, the extra ultrasounds, all that. And again, we get pulled into the office afterwards, and the doctor's like, you wouldn't believe it. We were like, what? Like, what now? Like, what else is going to go wrong? And he says, there's nothing wrong with his brain. I don't see anything in any of the ultrasound right now. And so we're, of course, in shock and just thankful and praising God fully and committedly. Like, that is why we call him our miracle baby, for sure. But in the back of my mind, I would have to say I still had a little doubt until he was born. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with him. He gives us a run for his money. He's 10 years old now. But I tried to say that God blessed us for a reason with this child and went through those difficult times, probably for our faith to be, stronger, obviously, and have more belief, but a testimony ultimately Definitely was not easy through the process, but ultimately we turned to Him, and the people that surrounded us helped us along that journey as well. And so, yeah, that's my story.